Have you ever stood bewildered in the labyrinth of human connection, especially in the dance between men and women, where admiration can so quickly curdle into resentment, where clarity seems forever shrouded in a fog of extremes? We are fed images, aren't we? Visions of angelic purity, of inherent moral grace, while a deeper, more powerful, and infinitely more complex reality of human nature often remains veiled, unspoken. What if the truth we seek isn't a simple verdict, but an understanding of the intricate illusions we weave, the projections we cast, and the societal narratives we inherit? If your soul yearns for an honest, unfiltered exploration of these profound dynamics, prepare yourself. This journey will challenge the very foundations of what you believe you know about attraction, about power, and about the intricate ties that bind us. Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher who dared to gaze unflinchingly into the human condition, saw something in these dynamics that continues to resonate with a startling, sometimes uncomfortable truth. A truth not about condemnation, but about the courageous act of seeing beyond our most cherished illusions. What did he truly perceive? And how can his often controversial insights help us navigate our own hearts with greater wisdom and authenticity? What truly stirs in a man's heart when he declares his love for a woman? Friedrich Nietzsche, with his characteristic depth, offered a profoundly unsettling thought: that often what a man loves is not the living, breathing woman before him, but an idealized projection, a shimmering phantom born from the crucible of his own mind. This isn't a harmless daydream. It's a comfortable lie, he suggested, an illusion that too easily elevates complex, human women to the pedestals of purity, ethereal delicacy, or unwavering moral perfection. Man created woman, Nietzsche wrote, but out of what? Out of a rib of his God, of his ideal. This isn't the language of tender romance. It is a stark, almost surgical diagnosis of a pervasive self-deception. And what is most arresting, most humanly poignant, is how this act of idealization often reveals far more about the inner landscape of men than it does about women themselves. Why this profound, often unconscious need to transform an ordinary human being into something divine, flawless, a savior figure? Nietzsche probed this tendency, suggesting it often springs from a deep-seated fear. A fear, perhaps, of confronting the authentic, multifaceted nature of womanhood, with its own instincts, its own strategic depths, its own unique and potent forms of power. This passionate embrace of an illusion, this romantic elevation he dared to suggest, isn't the hallmark of true, courageous love, but perhaps a tender, all-too-human retreat from the overwhelming complexity of encountering another authentic soul, complete with her own desires, ambitions, and exquisite imperfections. And when reality inevitably pierces this self-spun fantasy, when she asserts her autonomy, acts from her own center, or expresses desires that diverge from the script he has written, the man often feels a profound sense of betrayal, not because she has changed, but because the illusion he so desperately clung to was never real. Herein lies one of Nietzsche's most challenging, uncomfortable truths. To love an idea in place of a person is not love, but a profound form of self-deception. And this self-deception, this tenderly held illusion, becomes the fertile ground for so much unspoken heartache, so many fractured connections.
While history often chronicles the overt displays of power, physical strength, political command, direct social control largely wielded by men, Friedrich Nietzsche, with his incisive gaze, observed the quiet cultivation of a different, yet equally potent form of influence. He noted the way men might perceive women as enigmatic, profoundly deep, perhaps because, as he mused, their depths often remained unsounded, their inner worlds inescrutable to a more direct, less nuanced gaze. This wasn't a dismissal, but a fascination with an extraordinary adaptive grace. Deprived for centuries of overt pathways to power, Nietzsche saw that women had honed the art of indirect influence, mastering the subtle currents of psychological understanding, the ability to shape perception, to guide emotion, and to discern human motivation with breathtaking acuity. This, he suggested, wasn't born from a place of malice, but from a profound evolutionary wisdom. When brute force is not an option, astuteness becomes your shield and your spear. When open leadership is denied, one learns to guide from the quiet spaces, from the shadows of expectation. This has often nurtured a keen social intelligence, an ability to read the human heart, to sense unspoken needs and vulnerabilities, not as romanticism might suggest from an idealized innate empathy alone, but from the pressing necessity of navigating a world that often didn't grant them an equal voice or standing. This relational power, this nuanced strength, often flows unseen, unrecognized by those attuned only to the louder declarations of authority. As Nietzsche hinted, perhaps man's power often sought the visible heights, the declared territories, while woman's learned to weave its influence through the invisible, yet profoundly shaping depths of human connection. In the intricate dance of relationships, who truly sets the emotional rhythm? Who defines the unspoken terms of engagement? Nietzsche perceived that it is often not the one who speaks loudest, but the one who understands the silent language of the heart. The one whose power, because it need not announce itself, becomes all the more pervasive, all the more compelling. Woman is so artistic, Nietzsche observed, a statement not of superficial critique, but of profound social insight. He saw that in a world that often cruelly reduced feminine value to mere image, a remarkable alchemy occurred. Women learned to transform appearance into an art, and that art, in turn, into a unique form of power. Nietzsche, ever the keen observer of human nature, believed that we are all, to some extent, swayed more by the dance of appearances than by the stark, unadorned face of truth. And in this intricate theater of perceptions, he perceived women as often possessing an almost instinctive mastery, an artistry born not of innate vanity, but of urgent, adaptive necessity. When your very worth in the eyes of society hinges so precariously on how you are perceived, you learn, with breathtaking skill, to sculpt that perception. There develops an intuitive understanding, a deep knowing that the mask, the way one presents oneself, can matter as much, if not sometimes more, than the unvarnished self residing beneath. This is no trivial skill. It is a sophisticated grasp of a fundamental human truth that we often fall in love not with stark reality, but with the shimmering vision of what we desire reality to be. By consciously shaping the way they are seen, women, Nietzsche suggested, were not merely reacting to the world, they were actively, artfully helping to define it. Beauty, grace, social charm, these were not seen by him as simple adornments, but as potent, strategic instruments, a way of turning societal limitation into a subtle yet powerful advantage. Nietzsche didn't dismiss this as feminine superficiality. On the contrary, he recognized in it a profound adaptive intelligence, an understanding that to influence perception is often to influence the outcome itself. This mastery of appearances then becomes less about falsehood and more about a deep, pragmatic wisdom, a recognition that in the complex social theater, where naked truth is seldom simply rewarded, the ability to create and manage impressions is a vital art of navigating, even surviving.
And perhaps most tellingly, Nietzsche mused that while men might often blur the lines, confusing the crafted appearance with the deeper reality, women frequently maintain a clearer, more discerning eye, understanding that while the mask is not the face, its power in the unfolding human drama is undeniable.
This journey through Nietzsche's challenging perceptions has perhaps unsettled comfortable illusions and invited us to gaze more deeply into the intricate bands of human connection, power, and perception. If these reflections have stirred something within you, if you dare to continue questioning and seeking a more authentic understanding of yourself and the world, then your exploration doesn't end here. What mask or illusion are you now more aware of in your own life or in the dynamics around you? Share your courageous insights and questions in the comments below. Let us build a space for honest, profound dialogue. If you believe these deeper, sometimes uncomfortable conversations are essential, please share this video with others who seek to look beyond the surface. And to continue this journey of unmasking truths and cultivating wisdom with us, subscribe. The path to clarity often begins with the courage to see.